Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. Today, I will speak about mentoring for developers, and I'm going to share my experiences of how I have been working with this. I called it "Why Should You Care and How." The reason I chose this title is because when I initially started mentoring, I quickly realized when I actually started doing this in real life that something was missing, and what the piece of the puzzle that was missing is that how you as a person actually how you communicate and how you behave towards other people, and that's why I called it empathic mentoring for developers. My name is Dervis Mansuroglu. I work for the Norwegian government. I am engineering manager for a team of developers. And I am also a part of the Norwegian Java user group. We run events, meetups, workshops. We also organize the Java Zone conference. And I have to say, as a conference organizer myself, I'm so grateful and so happy for the Vox team for actually having me here. So thank you so much. And my experience, I have been working 16 years in tech. The last 4 years, I have been working as a leader. I started my journey into mentoring as a part of the Norwegian National Inclusion Program. This was a special initiative by the Norwegian government when we were trying to get more underrepresented and underprivileged people into tech. And I have been volunteering in refugee camps, in emergency asylum centers, and I have participated in municipal activities to teach. Currently, I am doing a lot of free mentoring and free coaching, and especially for the underrepresented individuals. And at work in my organization, I am a mentor for 4 young developers aged 17 and 18. So I try to combine all of those. So today we are going to talk about first, I want to just define what I mean with empathy and culture. Why is this so important for the role of a mentor? And then knowing yourself as a mentor, you really need to have this understanding of who you are and how you think. So I will share some ideas about that. And then go into prerequisites and what actually do you need to think about before you start mentoring, because you can do mentoring on your own on a freely basis, or you can do it as a part of a larger platform at your work. And then we will do a deep dive into mentoring. I will also talk about mindset. That is so important to actually build trust. And the fact that when people trust you, it's more likely that they will open up for you and tell you how they think, what is happening actually in their minds and in their head. And I would like to also invite you, if you would like to ask me questions. I'm trying something new here today. Please go into the Slido. You can ask anything that you like. I will try to answer some of it in the end, and I will take a look. So, and I have this QR code again in the end, so you will see it again. So feel free to ask anything. So I have a claim, and the claim is that mentoring really can save life. And I have seen this myself, because in 2019, when I started, I had 3 mentees that we hired as trainees in my organization, and these people were underrepresented, and they belonged to the neurodiverse group, and they had the chance. The fact that we gave them a chance in a large organization that I belong to was a really very important thing for them, and they all landed jobs in the end. So, and one of them told me that this saved my life, and that's why I am putting out this claim. And when I say really caring, what exactly does it mean? Empathy. This is a word which, if you Google, if you look up this word, you will actually get probably many million hits, a lot of books, a lot of courses, a lot of theory, a lot of things. And I like especially Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. He was asked a question, and I like his answer to this. He was asked, what is the biggest source of innovation and why? Is it diversity, technical skill, humanity, employee equity, or something else? And he answered, to me, what I have sort of come to realize, what is most innate in all of us, is the ability to be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes and see the world they see it. And I completely agree with this, and it's a very precise description of what actually empathy is, and you can sum it as empathy is about deeply caring. And in my talk now, I hope to give you an understanding of actually, it's easy to write this on a slide, but what is it actually in practice, in real life? And when working with empathy and understanding, there is another word that comes up, it's sympathy. And empathy and sympathy is not the same thing. You cannot interchange these words, because you can have a sympathy but not empathy, and you can have empathy but not sympathy. So both of those scenarios are important. And as mentors, understanding at what distance and with how do you actually see other people and their feelings, what they are feeling. And with sympathy, you don't necessarily understand these people's feelings, but you can actually still offer them help. And yeah, and culture, the same thing with culture, because if you look at this up, the same thing again, a lot of hits, many different contexts. But in the context of a mentor, I like to think of this as the sum of values, behaviors, and attitudes in the company. And when you are a mentor and you want people to trust you, you really need to understand what the dynamics in your organization and how all those different dynamics actually create the culture in your company. And especially for empathic leader and empathic mentor, you really should strengthen the behaviors that you want, and not being afraid actually to address when something is bad. Empathic leader, mentor can actually allow themselves to address these situations, and they will happen. Because if those situations are not addressed over time, those will actually become a part of your culture. And I have been at some organization where this unfortunately has happened. It's very difficult to turn this around again. So just having the attitude of addressing bad behavior is something I really recommend for people who want to be mentors. When starting with mentoring, the question comes up, where do we start? And if you want to be a good mentor, it actually all starts with you. Every one of us, we have a key, and every one of us, we are privileged people. We can open doors with those keys, or we can actually close doors with those keys. And there is especially one thing that I have realized now after some years. We as unique individuals know your history, know your journey, maybe even know your family history and journey, because all of the sum of all of that is what creates the unique you. And why is this important? Well, it's important because you can use that history as your strength, and that history makes you able to inspire people. So know your history. And then emotions. If you want other people to open to you and other people to actually explain how they feel, you have to actually be able to do the same thing. And knowing your emotions, knowing your fears, and being able to not only show it, but actually to talk about these things is actually very, it can change the result of whether you succeed or not. And then there is this thing with integrity. I like to say that I want to have a good moral compass, and there is especially this thing with being kind. And to me as a mentor, all of this actually goes back to my values. And I recommend everyone who want to be mentors to actually sit for themselves and ask themselves, what are my values? Because when you know those values and list your values, you can use those values to decide how you're going to react in certain situations. And inspiration, I really advise people to have role models. Select your role models. Understand what their values are. I got a comment once from someone who said, "Why do you speak so much about role models?" One of my role models is one colleague of mine, Johannes. And the reason I talk about my role models is because they inspire me to be better. They inspire me to keep learning. And just basically become a better person. And allowing yourself to do this is actually, it can help you also develop. And then there's honesty, and there is two types of honesty. There is that honesty when you speak to someone, when you communicate, and then there is that inner voice in you, that your own honesty towards yourself. And first and foremost, in any case where you want someone to succeed, you first need to start with asking yourself, am I honest with myself here? And this is important because all of us, we have something I called the inner dragon. And that inner dragon is something that in certain situations you meet people, you might have this, well, there is that voice in me saying that I'm not sure actually this person will make it. I don't think this person is good enough. It might be a lot of things that might disturb your path. But if you actually realize this and you challenge that inner dragon and you select trust and you select to believe in a person, you might actually get some nice surprises as for example, neurodiverse people landing tech jobs, and so you might be positively surprised. And prerequisites. There is 3 parties here that's involved, and you as the mentor, your company, and partners. And what exactly are those? At your company, you have the HR colleagues, your leaders and your co-leaders, the teams in your company and the work they do. Partners can be governmental projects, it can be job agencies, it can be non-profits, and those collectively might actually define or create opportunities for the trainees or the mentees that you have. So in your company, I really have to underline that you need support, especially if you want to do mentoring in your company and you want to build a mentorship platform. You really need support. Having an experienced HR management to help you, and the teams in your company. When you inspire your teams to actually contribute, you can give opportunities to underrepresented people in the teams. So that cooperation is extremely important. And then you as the mentor, the #1 job here in the beginning is to build trust. You should actually be spending like probably the entire first year only focusing on building trust. It's so important. And part of this role of being a mentor means also being willing to share your network, being willing to introduce your trainees and mentees to your broader network and connecting people, and to actually help them to do this on their own. And the partners, by cooperating with the local community, local organizations, it might be many different initiatives. By talking with a broad network of groups can suddenly, create an opportunity that you didn't plan for. For my part, which is a part of the global Java community, I speak with a lot of people, with the other companies, other non-profits in my community, and keep in a close relation with them. Okay, so mentoring. Why would anyone do mentoring? For my part, it started when my organization joined the National Inclusion Program, and my boss, he simply asked me, I have 3 people here. Do you want to help them out? Do you want to mentor them? I said yes, and I have been doing this since then. So this might be one entry in, and I just jumped into it without actually knowing much about this before this, so I have been learning as I have been progressing. Another way into this, it might be for the money. I have seen people doing business of it, and that's completely fine. If you ask me, the end result is different, of course, but it's possible, and I don't think there's so much money. It's not that much money. And then it might be for recognition. This is also, if you push that business idea further, it might be for business, for recognition. And then you have this thing with actually really caring, deeply caring, and this picture struck me as interesting as a symbol to this. And I don't charge anything for what I do. I do it completely free in my community. And you can see the results. It's much more different. And mentoring for who? Who are we mentoring? And there's employed people. It might be your colleagues or other people currently in work. And then you have the unemployed. And employed people, your colleagues, developers, trainees, they want to upskill. They need a senior to share some ideas. You are there as a mentor. It can be developers in transition or other tech people, because I have seen in the last 5 years with a lot of digital transformations going on all over the world, some roles from what I call from the waterfall days, they are not relevant anymore. And those people who lose their roles, what do you do with them? So either those people need to find other work, or you can reskill them and give them another chance as developers. And we have been doing this in my organization. And the last thing is those developers who actually, they know what they want to do, they have a very clear goal, and they work towards this. And unemployed people, there's a very wide range of backgrounds, and I cannot list all of them. Most of them is actually, when you look at that broad group, you will see a pattern, and it's often underrepresented groups and minorities. So this is what I have been working with mostly. And when you start working with this, I very quickly realized all the stigma. I saw all those negative labels attached with those, for example, the neurodiverse spectrum. And as mentors, if you want to be a good mentor, an empathic mentor, you should be on the forefront to actually work towards removing those stigmas and negative labels, and learn about the uniqueness of everyone. And the way to do this is, it might be like this. Talk with non-profits, user groups, unions, and people who work with certain groups to understand what are their strengths. I have been talking with the Autism Union, for example, just to give you an idea, and to learn. And there is 2 ways of learning about autism. I mean, what is autists? And you can talk with experts, and you can talk with autists themselves, and understand how it is, and you understand their strengths. But you have another one, which I tried. You look up the word autism in your dictionary, and I will read out for you what is written. It's written, regarded as a symptom of schizophrenia and other disorders. Well, I would highly recommend don't do this. talk with people first, ask them questions, understand their background, because what I have seen when I have been working with autists is actually they are very intelligent. They're masters of finding patterns, remembering patterns in a different scale than I am able to. They can deeply analyze problems, and they will really surprise you. So talk with people and learn from them. And you have this concept of introverts and introverts versus extroverts. And people have been telling me, well, it's negative to be introvert. Well, it isn't, because the introverts are just a different way of approaching problems and situations. So remove yourself from this and learn what those people's strengths are. And then mentoring, and what are we actually mentoring? I have especially two lines, two tracks here. You have that soft skill line, and then you have that technical line. And I will tell a little bit about this technical line, and then I will spend the rest of the slides for the soft skill part. So when you start the technical mentoring, there is, especially in my situation, I have seen that mastering a programming language is very important, so we spend much time on that. Then you have mastering and understanding a full software development process. This is just one suggestion of how I see it, with those 5 steps towards actually creating a product that will live and serve people. And when it comes to programming, I am involved in the Java community. I have been involved in the Java community for a very long time now, and Java is easier to teach than ever. I very clearly see it with all those changes that is made. I love default module imports. It will make it possible for you to just use collections, for example, but without importing it. And you can very quickly get started helping people actually, and skipping all the noise and the verbosity that we have been struggling when we have been teaching Java before. But this is actually now being fixed. On the software development process, this is only some of the tools and technologies and so on that we use in my organization. I try to put them in the different stages. Now imagine that you are an underrepresented person or a junior, 18, 20 years old. You join a very big organization with several hundred developers, and you're going to try to navigate this. Well, you will feel overwhelmed, that's when that empathic part comes in, because you have to build trust and safety for the person. Mentees, trainees, juniors, they really want to feel it's safe to fail, it's safe to try, it's safe to make changes. A project manager that I had some years ago, said something very, very nice. He said, when we push software out, when we deploy software out, we roll forward, we never roll back. If you make a mistake, we make another deploy. And that's the mindset that I feel helps. So to sum up this part, my advice is to people who want to be mentors, adapt to different skill sets, because you are going to see a lot of different people. And all those people, they have different levels of technical background and understanding. And you shouldn't be afraid of just, changing the way you explain things. And when you use familiar examples, you can ask, what is your interests? What do you do in your free time? And by asking and learning more about the people that you're going to work with, you can, as a mentor, you can start using examples from their life. And I have experienced how much easier it is then for them to connect the things that I'm explaining. Then there is this answer, explain, repeat. So you answer a question, you explain it, and after some time, you get that question again, so you repeat that question. And as an empathic mentor, always do this. I mean, answer again, explain again, repeat again, because learning is a process that takes time. And by actually re-explaining, repeating, you will always have that trust building in focus. And people will actually trust you more to ask you when they have really didn't. Because how many times did you experience when you explain something in a meeting room and ask if people have any questions in the end of the meeting, and no one actually speaks out? If no one speaks out, it might be a, that they don't have the psychological safety needed. And automate where you can. An example of this is something we did. I have open sourced to Maven one archetype that we created. Because when I teach Java, I want to give my trainees and mentees just a minimal setup with Java 23, JUnit, and spend as less time to speak about the Maven folder setup and so on, and get actually to the core of what we are teaching. And this has worked quite well for us, and I can advise you to find those ways of automating your teaching and mentoring. So how do we do it? First, I want to clear up this the difference between coaching and mentoring. Coaching is not mentoring. Mentoring is not really coaching. Some people use those interchangeably, but coaching is a task-focused, skill-focused activity, and whereas the mentoring is this holistic view on a person. You look at all aspects of a person, and you don't directly share all your ideas, but you share your network, and you help your mentee to actually find a way by inspiration. And that holistic view is very different than you can use coaching in your mentoring, and you can use mentoring in your coaching, so that's totally fine. So that holistic view to this is something like this, because all of us, we have financial part of us, intellectual, educational, mental, physical, spiritual. All of these things actually make us, it creates us. And I have actually seen, when I have been mentoring people in the neurodiverse spectrum, I have noticed by making a very small change in their routines during their day, how much more effect it had the next day. Just an advice like, after work, instead of taking a bus, maybe try to walk one part of the journey home. This is like some small things that we have tried, and it gives very huge effects. So understanding that there is many things that makes up a person is important in mentoring. And you need a plan. As a mentor, you always need to make a plan. The plan that we have been creating is 1.5 years. During that 1.5 year, every 3 months or so, we have a bigger feedback session, and we have weekly meetings with our mentees. So the first 6 months, every week, and the next part of it bi-weekly, or as how much as your mentee actually needs to talk with you. But in any case, again, building trust, that should be the #1 focus of the whole mentoring, because these people have a lot of stuff to learn. They will see a lot of other people too, so they need you as their to lean on you when they need you. And this has worked quite well for us, especially that last part there, when you actually starting to transition the mentee towards a job, starting to working on interview techniques, technical workshops, repeating trial interviews, and we do this over and over. And it works, and I can advise. But the summary here, have a plan. It will make it much more easier. And another Adam Grant, he's a known psychologist, he said, it's easy to be a critic or a cheerleader. A critic sees your weaknesses, and the cheerleader only sees the stuff that you well, but actually doesn't tell you what you can do better. A coach will see the stuff that you do well, plus what you can keep improving. And it says a coach, but actually this applies equally as well as on mentors as well. And I can't underline enough how important it is to be thinking long term. because mentoring someone for a short, brief time versus actually focusing on this building up and making a person reach new heights and new goals is different. We call it effect over time, not change on time, because learning is a process. It's a long journey with many small goals along the way. So be patient as a mentor. Especially, it's important to be patient. Give people a little bit time actually to try. And I have seen that it's people are able, because when that trust relation is there, people will give it back to you. They will respect you in a different way and actually work. Then when looking into mentoring, this thing comes up, growth mindset. There's a lot of text, so I just summarized it. Individuals who believe their talents can be developed, they tend to achieve more than those with a fixed mindset. And as a mentor, that point when you have convinced your trainee that they can do anything, they can achieve anything, they can solve anything by actually keep learning and allowing them to fail and allowing them to retry. That point in time, when you reach that barrier, everything is possible. So work really hard to the point where your trainee actually believes themselves and the person has convinced themselves that this is possible. And this is a huge topic on its own, so I recommend everyone looking more at this. We, in the Norwegian government, we were known to have very huge projects, massive amount of people, waterfall process, project management plans, and a lot of stuff. We transitioned our organization to a much more agile, product-focused organization. So we made a lot of changes, both the digital transformation, I mean, we renewed our tools, and we also renewed our organizational chart and the way we work. And that the word here, product, it comes from, if some of you have read or heard about Marty Kagan, Marty Kagan is one person who has been writing about this thing. We shifted from command and control management to trust. And because when you have a mentee, a trainee, and that person is still learning, still trying to build an understanding of how things works, then you really want to have them in teams where it's safe, where safety is put first, psychological safety is put first. So do not avoid command and control managers, because it will hurt both the trainee and your process as a mentor. And we have been also, when you do this digital transformation and so on, and you give teams the freedom, you will see that it might be difficult to keep aligned. Spotify has worked a lot of this and written a lot of this. We have adopted the work they have done, plus my former leader, Rune Ulnes. He created a new methodology called tight, loose, tight. So you set a direction in the beginning, you give your team a very clear prioritization, but then you let your team loose and allow them freedom and allow them to use their skills. And then you align yourself again and readjust your direction. That works much better when you also with trainees, because it's much more safer to actually be training in that kind of a team. So that's why I have it. And then mindset. Because one thing of being mentoring is actually communicating and being able to communicate in a way that builds trust. And again, it's very easy to say this, and then you go back to work and, okay, how actually? So I have tried different things over the years. There is this thing with psychological safety, but in practice, when people tell you, I don't know, I made a mistake, I disagree, I might be wrong, I have a concern, I have an idea. These things, when people say this to you, if your trainees, when they are able to say this directly, then you have achieved psychological safety. But it's all about communication, because how do you get here? And I have created a set of mantras here, short sentences that I always use in my communication work. And the first one is, your life is not your office, calendar, or timesheet. Because I tell my mentees that you as a person, you are much more. You are not only the person that I see here at work. So I acknowledge that you are much more. So and when I say this, actually they allow themselves to explain me more. And family and friends is everything. It's a bit odd, but actually we have to say this, especially as leaders and empathic mentors, because we are human beings. Things change, and there will be times when you need to focus and prioritize your family. But I want to be a kind of mentor that I would rather say this first to my trainees and give them that safety than my trainees having some kind of a fear of asking me, hey, actually I need to prioritize my family. Can I take a day off or something? That's why I say this first, and then they don't have to fear. So that is why I say this one. Whenever you feel down, take a day off. I have seen especially the difference between an organization that I work for in the government and very strictly run consultancy companies. And I had someone tell me, I asked my boss, I had to go to the doctor, I had to take 3 hours, and I wasn't allowed. And that's, well, it's hard to believe, but I have never ever experienced anyone that actually, when you give them that trust, they respect that trust and they catch up. If there is work that has been done meanwhile, when you give them that respect and that trust, they will pay it back to you. So that's why I have the confidence to say this. I can say that whenever you feel down, take a day off. It's okay, because I know that they will work and catch up again. Whenever you need support, I got your back, because people will get in situations which will be difficult. Never underestimate, that people see differently than you. You might not always understand what they see when there is something, but again, what kind of a mentor do you want to be? Do you want to be a mentor that is actually, you're a mentor that people come to you and people talk to you? Well, if you want that to happen, you have to give the safety for people to believe, when I talk with this guy, I will be heard. And if you believe this when you say it, then it has a huge effect. And I can see how this is affecting when I do my community work. When people actually come and talk and share ideas, we can elaborate, we can have a really nice dialogue. And I saw you made a mistake. I say you made a discovery. There is this thing again, not being afraid of failing. Not being afraid of trying. And one very good example of this is a recent example that at my work, where one of my trainees worked for some time, created a whole deployment pipeline to deploy one simple Java application to a Kubernetes cluster. And he came to me and he said, I deployed, I built a pipeline, but I failed because I have an exception and this application doesn't start. So I failed. And I said, no, you didn't fail. Because look at what he has done, actually. He built a whole pipeline. He has never done this before. Learned it, how to do it, getting something deployed to a Kubernetes cluster. So I said to him, well, this is a huge progress. Plus, you made a discovery that there is some bug in the code. So mindset, how do you actually respond? So that's why I have this. And only you know your potential. People need to believe in themselves. When people believe in themselves, that's when you see the progress happen. And there is this thing with growth mindset again. This is a part of that. I talk in a certain way that over time makes people be able to tell themselves, okay, I failed now, but next time I won't, because next time I will make changes. And with my mentor, I will know what changes those are going to be. And there's this another group of theory, servant leadership. I kind of borrowed one thing from servant leadership theory, and it's basically how can I make your day and experience better? At some random times, I might ask my colleagues this question, and you would be surprised by the response that you will get. So, because when you are saying, I have some things that I am good at, can I use any of that strength to maybe make your day better? Or so it helped a lot towards having that mentor mindset, actually being there for someone else, helping someone else, and not shying away from that. Okay, so towards the end here, how do we summarize and sum up this thing? And the very first thing that I experience, people ask me, but if I want to be a mentor, where do I find people to mentor? Well, there is really two situations where this can happen. First and foremost, your organization. Convince your leadership into hiring underrepresented people in tech and trainees. Hire them, and then you can actually take that mentor role. Choose your values, your role models, and share knowledge publicly. Be visible. If you don't want to be on this kind of stages, there is always local meetups where you can share, and only by sharing your ideas, you will always meet new people, and people will then reach out to you. Learn about growth mindset, adapt that communication, as I exemplified with my mantras, and make a plan. So that's what I had. I have 7 minutes. I will just look at the questions. And you can reach out to me through those links here. My slides are online through that QR code. And let's see here. First question. Can a junior mentor a senior? Actually, it can. And don't underestimate this thing, because I have now a 17-year-old developer. He mentors me, opposite direction on AI. There has been a lot of AI focus, and I have seen actually the younger generation, they are so much faster. They are so much more creative, and they have a very different mindset towards that. So absolutely, yes. What are your thoughts on result objective driven mentoring? How can we ensure our mentorship process is effective? Yeah, I would say it's your cooperation with the teams where the trainee or the mentor works at. You created a plan. You have a set of skills that you know the person needs to learn to actually succeed over time. And we have been working a lot with KPIs and so on at my organization. But to ensure that your process is effective, you need feedback, you need communication. So as a mentor, keep a relation with all the people that is around the trainee. And those are, first and foremost, the teams where the trainee will actually grow. So yeah, that's just one thought. Let's see here. What are your where do you draw the line between mentoring them as developers and as a person without asserting yourself too much in their lives? Yeah, that's a very good question. And the answer is time. Be patient. I have seen people, they don't really, not everyone opens up immediately. No one will actually, because building trust takes time. In one scenario, I spent 7 months before one of my colleagues actually opened up and told me what struggles he had at his private life. And I don't force or push anyone to actually tell me things. And they will, when you have reached the point where people trust you at a certain level, when they want to tell you, and then you can actually go deeper. So I wouldn't push it, but I would have this mindset: I will be here for you. I will actually be listening to you when you will talk with me, or if you want to share, I will be here. So I repeat and repeat and repeat this one particular thing all the time. And another thing is, I explain personal things. I make examples from my life because I'm a human as well. So my life is also ups and downs. And the more I do this, the more it's likely, and I have seen several times when people trust me more to actually tell me and share things back. Another reason for mentoring, your own development of skills. Yeah, that's absolutely true. You can do mentoring to actually learn yourself. One benefit I had is actually learning about developers, learning about humans, learning communication. Because I said to my own leader, I want to be better at communication. And the way to actually be better at communication is by practicing it. So, yeah. At what point do you decide that your mentee requires more different help that is beyond your mentor skills? And what do you tell your mentee? Yeah, very good one. Because sometimes people might need very different help than you can ever give them. Do not ever think that you are medically trained, for example. You cannot provide medical help. If someone needs a very different kind of help or support, you have to allow yourself and dare and be brave, if I have to say this, to actually directly say it. Do not ever create this elephant in the room thing. Say it say it directly. Say that, with the utmost respect, you know. You approach the person with respect, and you are saying that in order for you to improve and actually reach your goals, you will need additional help. And then you are the person that will try to bridge that. Let's see here. I think it's also important to understand the generation gap. For example, Generation Z perspectives perceives information different from millennials. Yeah, I have seen the past, the new generations. When I work with them, working with young people, they have very different value set than other generations. We probably, all of us, we heard, the Generation Z people, they expect answer immediately, they expect results immediately, and so on and so on. But this is actually not really true as far as I see. I see that young people, many of them have a value set. And they expect from you actually to be proper leaders. They have a very different expectation from their leaders. I have young people challenging me. So you talk about helping people, but are you actually helping people? There is a difference, but it's important about the dialogue. One last. Can models like Insight, MBTI to help build trust, understanding the way mentors? If you can always try out different models for communication, for feedback, to gather and collect data about how how is actually everything going. So don't be afraid of trying new models. I have more questions. I promise to have them answered. You can see them when I will write and answer them inside Slido. And if there is any questions, please contact me. Please ask questions. And I hope it was interesting and relevant for you. Thank you so much.